Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches. Every week we're getting closer to episode 100, which is just crazy. But I want to say a big thank you, another great week and another great selection of watches for you guys and girls, ranging as always from vintage to new to something you just very rarely see to stuff that you can sort of get anywhere and we're just priced really competitively. There really is the mix, and it's what we love to bring here at Kibble Watches. As always, if you have a watch you want to sell, head over to the website, the sell section on there, complete the form nice and easy. If you have multiple watches you would like to sell, send us an email, info@kibblewatches, and follow the form format if you can. For the most part, we're providing as much detail as possible. If we don't get that detail in, I'm just going to ask you those questions anyway, and it just speeds up the whole process. So I do appreciate it takes you longer to fill out the form, attach the photos, put the exact reference, put the age, any service history, all the extra details, but it really does help as you'd expect if you were buying a watch. You kind of want to know those details to make a decision, so we appreciate the same. So yeah, now that that is out of the way, before we get on to the great watches on the table, let's talk about what's on wrist. I'm wearing my Omega swatch, moon swatch, a really cool thing. I mean, there's a lot of hate, there's a lot of people who don't like these. You know, it's a £207 plastic swatch. At the end of the day, I'm not mad about it. I enjoy it. I still love the Speedmaster. I don't think it hinders the sales of Speedmaster. I think it benefits the sales of Speedmaster, and I think it benefits the brands. I think it's fun. Was the release done in the right way? Definitely not. But at the end of the day, the watch is cool. I like it for what it is. Yes, it's plastic. Yes, it may fall apart. Should it do that? No, of course not. But again, we know these things at the end of the day. And as collectors, you have to make that informed decision of whether this is something you want to enjoy for a while and it is redundant and will be thrown away probably at some point, which is a shame. But I've got it paired on a very nice oxblood strap from Fears, which I think suits the red perfectly. I'm sure you guys and girls will agree. Really great watch. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's dive into what's on the table. And we're going to start with the incredible Breiling Super Ocean. This is the 57 limited edition with the rainbow dial. I think it's just super cool. Let's take a closer look at this one. So what a watch to begin this week's episode with. What you're looking at here is the Breiling Super Ocean 1957 limited edition of 1,000 pieces. Now they don't state which number each one is. It is one of 1,000 as stated on the caseback, and this one obviously features the rainbow dial with the indices and the hands, which, you know what, I think absolutely looks fantastic. It's one of those watches when released I wasn't too keen. However, seeing it in person, it's actually really attractive, and I think works very well with the blue and the overall design, especially on the mesh style fitted bracelet that Breiling provide. A very comfortable bracelet as well. I won't bore you with the reference to this one. It can be seen on the website. It's a long reference. This one's from September 2020 with its box and papers. As I say, it comes paired on its original bracelet, spare links included. The watch is worn, there are scratches. We can have it polished for you if you'd like, but personally you can't. You can tell the scratches if you're inspecting it looking for that, obviously, whereas if you're just wearing it, enjoying it, you can't really tell. So it wouldn't bother me personally. Beating away inside is the automatic Breiling Caliber B10. Very good, reliable movement, but overall, just a very good looking watch, especially for the money. It is a friction fit bezel. Do keep that in mind. What that means is it's held in via friction, or it rotates via friction as opposed to clicks. So you can move it. It is not easy to move, and it's not too difficult to move. So it's not like the chance of you knocking it and it sort of moving isn't likely. You do kind of need two fingers to do it. Original signed crown. It isn't a screw down crown, something to also keep in mind. But a good looking watch nonetheless, and I think it's rated to 100 meters. Yeah, that's correct. So perfectly fine for everyday use. I mean, if you are after a true dive watch, this won't be the one, but again, how many of us actually go diving with our dive watches? It's very few, let's be honest. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, paired on my just shy or around 7-inch wrist. Really good looking watch. So 42mm by 46mm lug to lug, 9.5mm thick. Do keep in mind that is including the very domed sapphire crystal, which is sort of hidden behind that concaved bezel. and 20mm on the lug. So if you're not a fan of this combination for whatever reason, you could swap it out quite easily. But for me, I think that just really works with the overall design. So go check this one out on the website today. Next, let's go over to a watch that we have sold in the past. We haven't sold this exact one. This is actually a very early serial, under 10. This is number 5 out of 150, so super low number. Limited edition Sinn, the Rake and Revolution. The Dark Star, as it's called, a very cool watch, and I know a lot of people really love this one. Obviously the prices are reflective of the fact this sold out instantly and it is a limited edition, and so on and so on and so on, but it's a cool watch, so let's take a closer look. So next up, the Sinn and the Rake and Revolution limited edition Dark Star, as it's known, limited to 150 pieces, and this is number 5, very early in the run. This is from August 2019. It does come with its box and paperwork, including its additional straps. As you can see, it's paired on its original Sinn bund, which is in fantastic condition. All the straps are in very good condition, as you'd expect. The watch has been worn, but very lightly, and to be honest, it was worn on a different strap. Something to keep in mind, every single one I have seen has this patina around the bezel, which is a forced patina, so do keep that in mind. These aren't scratches, or they're not the paint fading off. That is just the design of the bezel to make it look more vintage. You've got the Dark Star obviously there at 6 o'clock, 2 registered chronograph, really nice faux patina on the hands and the dial, just looks really good. Beating away inside this is the automatic Sellita SW510, a very reliable Sellita movement. As I say, box, papers, everything with it, you just can't find them, and the price we're asking for this one is very, very fair considering set, condition, and everything else. And yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the design, that's one thing, but I think, you know, a lot of people really admire what Waco has done with the Rake and Revolution, and rightfully so. And obviously Sinn, a brand in and of itself with incredible history and heritage to look back on, and this model is obviously heavily inspired by that. You can read more about that on our website, but let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Personally, I wouldn't wear it on the bund. I'd take that part off and just wear it on the leather strap, or a different strap altogether. Something brown I think would look pretty cool. But what you're looking at is 43mm by 51mm lug to lug, 15mm thick, that's including that domed acrylic crystal, and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options to switch and swap if you're not a fan of this look, and 20mm very easy to do as well. So go check this one out on the website today. From there, let's go over to an IWC Pilot's chronograph, 43mm in black with the black strap. This is a very good looking piece. It's a big watch, 43mm, but it wears so well, and it is always surprising whenever we get one of these in. I really like it. This one is from 2014, complete set. In very good condition. I think you guys and girls are going to be hard pressed to find a better one, so let's take a closer look at this one. So next up is the IWC Pilot's chronograph in 43mm from 2014, specifically December 2014, with its box and paperwork. This is the reference IW3 77701, a classic from the lineup, and a very good looking watch. Obviously IWC are known for their pilots watches, it's what they do, and this is more of the modern interpretation of that, with the pump pushers and the screw down crown, day-date complication, all of the bells and whistles you'd expect. And to be honest, they are very popular, and rightfully so. However, I think a lot of the collecting community feel like this is too big at 43mm and the thickness and everything. However, it does wear well. It hugs the wrist and it actually wears those dimensions. And as I often say, lug to lug is more important than almost every other dimension, so do keep that in mind as well. Comes paired on an original IWC strap, which as you can see is in great condition. Original IWC buckle. Sorry, I wasn't even showing it then. There you go. So IWC strap, buckle. Nice plain case back as well. And beating away inside is the automatic IWC caliber 79320, based on an ETA or a Sellita. And as I say, December 2014, box and papers. Let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. So here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As I mentioned, it wears well. Yes, it takes up the wrist, but it's not uncomfortable, and it's actually surprisingly comfortable, and the slope of those lugs helps it wrap around the wrist. So what you're looking at is 43mm by 53mm lug to lug, 15mm thick, and 21mm on the lugs. A little bit awkward on the lug length, but to be honest, this strap pairs perfectly with it. I'd be wearing it on this regularly, especially as you wear it down and you start to get more of a matte finish. I think it's going to look really good. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a 1984 Rolex Datejust with the engine turn bezel, the 16030. This is going to be a great pickup for someone maybe born in 1984. As we've said a million times, don't focus on birth year watches, Don't focus on birth year watches. If you find a great watch and it happens to be your birth year, then what a great result. However, what I see a lot of the time is people focus on just the year and they forget about all the other things we're supposed to be looking at, condition, originality, all these things, and people will let those slip in the light of it being a birth year watch. It's not really worth it in my opinion. So buy a watch because you like it, and if it happens to be your year, even better. So let's take a closer look at this one. So Datejust time with the engine turned bezel. This is the 16030 reference from circa 1984. And what you're looking at is an original tritium dial with really beautifully warm tritium lume plots all around, and later service luminova hands, as you can see. Still a fantastic example, but again, it's worth mentioning they are service hands, so they do shine differently to the dial. You've got the open 6 on the date wheel and a really good condition engine turn bezel, and just a good condition overall. It has been polished, it has seen a polish wheel, but it hasn't been over polished, and we've still got some of those nice sharp angles left. Screw down crown at 3 o'clock, obviously plain. Screw down case back. Inside beating away is the automatic Rolex caliber 3035, which is obviously what you'd expect for this era. It is paired on a brown leather strap with a reproduction Rolex buckle. That is not a genuine Rolex buckle, but yeah, it just looks really good. Obviously that silver dial makes it very versatile. This is perfect for the person wanting maybe their first Rolex, or just want a Rolex they could wear in any sort of situation in terms of design. I think this definitely ticks that box. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, a great 2-stitch strap which really suits the design. And there's a reason these are so popular. 36mm by 44mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick, and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options, drilled lug holes to make strap changing super quick and easy. But yeah, just a good looking watch for a very fair price for a Rolex Datejust. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to a unworn Tudor Black Bay GMT. This one is fully stickered and from 2019, sold on the fabric strap. And yeah, it's kind of amazing that it's still fully stickered and was never worn. It was left in a safe here in the UK, and just was never enjoyed, unfortunately. So here's your option to pick up one at a heavy discount on retail, and yeah, be the first one to put marks into it. So let's take a closer look. Here we go, Tudor GMT time, and this one left sat in a safe, completely stickered, as you can see. Shame it's not been worn, but again, that saving still gets passed on to you from retail, and you still get to be the one to wear it for the first time. So this is the 79830RB, and this one's from February 2019 with its box and paperwork. And inside is the automatic Tudor caliber 5652. This is the model on the fabric strap, the very nice Tudor fabric strap, really good quality. And yeah, you can get the bracelet and stuff from Tudor if you wanted to go down that route. But to be honest, it's a good looking strap on, a good looking watch on the strap, and I think it really does work. And personally, I actually think I'd wear this on the leather anyway. I find with the bracelet, it just wears a bit big for me personally, even though dimensions are perfectly reasonable and it still looks good on my wrist for comfort and just sort of everyday wear. I think this on a brown leather, perfect, and it really lends itself to that vintage design because of the colours. Much more muted blue and red compared to obviously a modern day Pepsi. I think it's great. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. So here we go on my 7-inch wrist on the fabric strap. Very, very comfortable. This is 41mm by 51mm lug to lug, 15mm thick and 22mm on the lugs. A nice 22mm brown strap tapering down would be perfect. So go check this one out on the website today. Next up, let's go over to a Tag Heuer Carrera. This is a really lovely example with the white dial with the highlights of blue and the silver. I just think for the value that these are, I think they're great pickups. If you're after a traditionally sized or more traditionally sized chronograph from a brand that is not very well appreciated, unfortunately, Tag Heuer still to this day has negativity around it within the collectors community. And it's a real shame because the watches they produce are fantastic and the value is undeniable, especially if you get to see this in person. So let's take a closer look at this one. So Tag Heuer Carrera time, and as I say, the beautiful white dial with the popper blue around the outside. Date over there at 4:30, just a good looking watch, and obviously Tag Heuer Carrera re-release has come out recently. I think they do it most years, to be honest. Again, another simply classic look, but this can be had at a fraction of that cost. So the reference to this one is the CV2110-0. This one's from circa 2008 with its box and paperwork. The paperwork is unsigned, but it has it all together. You've got a nice black rally style strap with its original Tag Heuer deployment buckle. Caseback stated quite clearly back there with the automatic Tag Heuer caliber 17 inside. This for me is a great option for someone after a very good looking vintage inspired chronograph that doesn't break the bank and is still from a brand that enough people know and respect. Yes, some of the hardcore collectors are still having their opinions about Tag Heuer. I don't think it's really worth listening to personally. Enjoy the watches if you like them, and if you want them, get them. So let's show this one on wrist and tall dimension. Here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, again, really great on the black, but personally a brown strap would be perfect on this watch. Maybe a brown suede, what a surprise. This is 38.5mm by 46mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick and 19mm on the lug. So yes, a little bit awkward, but there are options out there. So go check this one out on the website today. Next, let's go over to an unworn Ming. This is the reference 1709 with a burgundy dial, a really good looking watch. Brand new. It has only been taken out of this to be photographed and obviously just looked at really. So let's take a closer look at this gem. So Ming time with the 1709 in burgundy. This is a watch they did in the blue and the burgundy. Both super popular. This one's from May 2022 with its box and paperwork. Is in unworn condition and it's just a great watch. I mean, we've sold many over the years. The prices have come down considerably from when they first came out, and I think now they're priced well, and I think they're a good pickup at this price. Inside is the automatic Sellita SW330M1, obviously paired on its original genre, so very nice strap. I love this strap with its Ming sign buckle. All polished case with some brushed sides. It's just a good looking watch. Nice sign crown. Everything with it, but let's show it on wrist and tall dimension. So here we go on my 7-inch wrist. What you're looking at is 38mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 10mm thick, super thin, and 20mm on the lugs. I would highly recommend these Jean Rousseau straps because they fit the case nicely. They have that nice curve and you can get multiple of these from them. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a Unimatic. This is the Hodinkee edition, the U1-H, not the GMT, but the non-GMT version with the grey dial and the Sellita movement. A very good looking watch. Better profile on the wrist with the Sellita. It makes a marginal difference to the Seiko movement in thickness, but it really does feel different on the wrist. So this is a great option. Let's take a closer look at this one. Here we go, Ming time. Unimatic. We just did the Ming. Oh, clearly my brain isn't working. This is the Unimatic Hodinkee U1-H, limited to 500 pieces that they obviously did in collaboration with Hodinkee. The great part about this, well, there's a few things, but for me, is the colour scheme. This really beautiful grey with a dark grey bezel. It works so well, looks so good. And obviously inside is an automatic Sellita SW200-1 instead of the Seiko movements they use. Now, that is an upgrade in terms of quality of movement. However, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Where it matters is the thickness. It brings that thickness down ever so slightly. That makes it that little bit better on the wrist for most people. So I think it's a good improvement and one that I hope they continue doing. I know they're back to Seiko for the most part, but there are a couple of Sellitas every now and again. This one's from 2021 with its box and papers and NATO strap. Obviously paired on its rubber currently, but a good looking watch, especially for the price. I think these are great. And again, the prices when this first came out were far higher than where they are now today, and I think today they're great pickups at these prices. So let's show it on wrist and tall diamond. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, super comfortable on the rubber strap. This is 41mm by 49mm lug to lug, 13mm thick and 22mm on the strap. Endless options, although the straps it comes with are perfectly suitable. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a watch you're probably not going to see often at all, and this is a very interesting case shape, case design, everything. This is a vintage Omega Seamaster Cosmic from 1974. A great reference with an integrated bracelet, very similar to my personal Zenith. Great angles on the case and a very recent full service with Omega as well. So let's take a close look at this one. So next up, for vintage lovers out there, especially 1970s, this is going to be the one for you. This is a gorgeous Omega Seamaster Automatic Cosmic from 1974. The reference to this one is 166.0195, and its distinguishing features are that faceted case. You can see the way that case plays with the light is super cool with the polished bezel. You have this original Omega bracelet with the jeweler's clasp, as they call it. So basically it folds in, you have the two notches of where it could go. It folds in, over, and clips down, nice and simple, really beautifully done. There is one spare link in the box, and it comes with service paperwork because it went to Omega for service. So it comes with their nice new vintage Omega service box. It's not a pouch anymore, it's a very nice little box. And in there is all the parts that they changed and all the bits and bobs like it usually does. And obviously we have the paperwork for service as well. Inside here is the automatic Omega caliber 1012, and the dial is original tritium with a beautiful grey sunburst finish. The hands are modern replacement hands by Omega with Luminova, so they do glow differently to the dial. This was done by Omega, and the old hands are in the bag. Unfortunately, they take the lume out before they put them in, so they take all that lume out, so they're hollow hands now, but you still have them if that means anything to you. Original Omega sign crown right there, as you'd expect. The great thing about the strap is when you open it up, it's nice and easy to open it up and see everything. Very good looking watch. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. So you can see I would personally wear it like this. This would be comfortable for me. On the loosest of the two options, and as I say, there is one spare link in the box as well. The way this bracelet plays with the light is very similar to my Zenith, and it just looks fantastic. And this is great on wrist. Don't be fooled by dimensions. I know a couple of people have asked about this and said, oh, 37 is too small for me. The way this case is made and the shape of it, way it is with the bracelet, 37 is perfectly fine for almost anyone. You know, as long as the bracelet fits you, you're all good. So 37mm by 41.5mm lug to lug, only 9mm thick, super thin on the wrist, and 9.5mm at this point, obviously flaring out as it comes down to the clasp. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a beast, the Fortis Cosmonaut automatic on the bracelet, a fantastic watch. If you're into your bigger watches, something really robust, feels like a tank on the wrist, that's for sure. And this has the fitted leather strap with it as well from Fortis. So again, both options in the package, which is really nice. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, we have this incredible tank of a watch. This is the Fortis Cosmonaut automatic in black on the bracelet. A great watch with great history. I'd highly recommend heading over to the website and reading a bit more about this. There's some great articles out there as well to really read up on. You've got the vibrant orange at the second hand, the day date over there, very nice matte black bezel, nice Fortis crown right there, big screw lugs. It's basically a bar and a cap. That's how it works with the bracelet. As I said, this does come with its fitted black leather strap as well, which is a nice choice. This is the reference 647.1011M, and this one's from September 2016 with its box and paperwork, and inside is the automatic ETA 2836-2. So from a spec perspective, this is brilliant. It ticks all the boxes. It's built like a tank. It can do pretty much anything. The bracelet, super substantial with this crosshatch style link system. You've got a original Fortis clasp, obviously, and nice signed screw down case back. It's just a good looking watch. The clasp is a little on the tighter side, but it shuts nicely, and as you open it as well, as we get that open, there you go, and you can see everything nice and clearly. Just a great looking watch. Now the dimensions of this one are a bit bigger at 44mm, but it still wears relatively well. Again, the case profile, you can see from this angle just how much that drops down towards the end of the lugs. These kind of things make a big difference to wearability. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimension. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. You can see it's a big watch. It definitely is a big watch. It's a tank, but it looks good and it fills the wrist comfortably because of those sloped lugs. So what you're looking at is 44mm by 52mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick, and 20mm on the lugs. There's endless options if you want to swap out. However, between the bracelet and the fitted black leather, you're pretty much set, and I think you've got all options covered there. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to a Bolivar. This is one of the new releases. This is the Millships, as it's called. It has a very interesting bezel locking feature, which is very true to the original. Really great design. Kind of looks like the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, you know, that kind of era. Just a great looking watch. Let's take a closer look. So next up, this re-edition from Bolivar. A very good looking watch. This is part of the Millships range, a vintage throwback. I mean, just look at the lume and the faux patina and the sort of way they've done this bezel with the matte black and the gold, which does look like an old Bakelite bezel. I think they've done a really good job with this. A very small strap compared to the watch, which again is super dramatic but very true to the time. Reference to this one is the 98A266, and this has the automatic Miyota caliber 8250. So this isn't to be mistaken for the limited edition one they did with an ETA, but this is still a very good, reliable movement. A very nice case back as well. As you can see, I think this is just Bolivar showing what they can do at different price points. I really don't think you can go wrong with this watch if you're into military watches and you want this kind of design but don't want to have to pay a fortune. This really ticks a lot of boxes. Screw down crown, and the bezel is fixed in place until you push it down, and then it slides around, and then as you let go, it clicks back into place. So you have to push it down. It's got little ratchets where you feel it click into place, and sort of off you go. Very nicely done. This is July 2022 with its box and paperwork as well, but let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As I say, very dramatic strap size. This is going to really put some people off, but I think for the die-hard military fans out there, you're going to absolutely love this part of it because it feels very true. This is 41mm by 49.5mm lug to lug, 14.5mm thick, and do keep in mind a lot of that is in that super domed crystal. And 16mm on the lug, so super tiny on that. A brown leather strap would be quite interesting. I'd love to see what that looks like. But go check out this one on the website today. If you're after a very affordable, good-looking vintage dress watch, I think you found it. This is a 1965 Zenith manually wound with an Explorer dial, as we've called it. Just a good-looking watch at a very good price. Let's take a closer look. Next up, we have this very attractive Zenith with its original box from circa 1965. It's just nice to find them like this. They don't come up often. Really nice original silver dial with those gorgeous hands and those indices. That's why we called it an Explorer dial. Just in overall great condition, as you can see. Screw down case back. Beaten away inside is a manually wound Zenith caliber 2531. And this is 33.5mm. When we show it on the wrist, don't be put off by that because it feels very traditional. It feels like a Calatrava in the sort of size and the way it wears. We've got it paired on this nice sort of suede style strap. Obviously other straps are available, but a good looking watch. And again, if you're someone looking for a vintage watch or you want to gift a vintage watch to someone to get them into it, this would be the perfect option. Another sort of good example is if you want to gift your wife a watch and you want to be able to steal it from time to time, this may be a good choice as well. So let's show it on the wrist and taut dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see it looks great. I think this size proportion is perfect. 33.5mm by 41mm lug to lug, 9mm thick and 17mm on the lug. So yes, a little bit awkward on the lug length, but there are options. So go check it out on the website today. And last but by no means least, a fantastic Hamilton electric or electronic with a rose gold sort of cushion case, or yellow gold, sorry, cushion case. A very attractive dial, all original, really interesting indices. I love this period for the indices they use. They're always big, thick, bold, and really stand up on the dial. And this is no exception. Really cool looking watch. Again, just priced really well. So let's take a closer look. So Hamilton electronic time. This is a very cool yellow gold plated Hamilton electronic with a beautiful sort of yellow gold tone dial with those indices I was telling you about. I mean, look at how tall they are on the dial. Really, really cool on the way it plays with the lights. I think this sort of era of watchmaking was all about design, and that was the focus. And obviously this was about technology as well, because inside this one is the electronic Hamilton caliber 683, and this is circa 1970s. Just a very cool electronic movement. It does have its original sign crown, which has lost a lot of its gold plating, but it's still nice to have. And you can see the electronic hand skimming away there, nice and smooth, a very interesting look. Put it on a nice brown strap, I think it really suits the overall design. As I say, a circa 1970s electronic watch at this kind of price, they just don't come up often. So let's show it on wrist and talk diamond. And here we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist. The cushion case is fantastic. So what you're looking at here is 36mm by 40.5mm lug to lug, 11mm thick and 18mm on the lug. So endless options if you're not a fan of this combination, although I think it works really, really well. So go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. 13 watches in today's drop. There really is something for everyone at very affordable price points all the way up. And, you know, I think the thing we try and do, what I like to do is when we get a drop together, if I look at the drop as a whole, could I imagine it being like in someone's collection, like a really eclectic collection of watches? And if it looks like that, I think we've done a pretty good job of getting together some interesting pieces that you guys and girls can appreciate from all ranges. Because at the end of the day, we know you collectors don't just collect one thing for the most part. Most of you aren't just collecting Rolex or just collecting Patek or just collecting Omega. You have a variety and you're also playing around with vintage and modern. So why wouldn't we as dealers do the same? That's just how I look at it. So I want to say thank you for allowing us to be able to play around with that. It seems to be working. You guys and girls seem to enjoy it and I really do appreciate it. So we'll see you all again next week. Take care.